Right, hello there my e-friends and digital loved ones. Adam Clery from FourFourTwo here, and if you are sitting there thinking, 1, is this video not a day late, and 2, wow, he looks like shit, then you are correct on both counts. Haven't been well. But I'm feeling better now, despite how I may sound, or at least considerably better than that Manchester United performance. So I thought I would come and talk to you about how that whole thing happened, because every time I watch Man United, I feel like I'm going insane. But more importantly, despite the fact they've only played 3 games so far, every single time I now watch Arne Slot's Liverpool, I feel better. One other thing to address really quickly, yes, the studio has changed, it is different. I'm behind this curtain instead of the blue screen, and that camera's far more highly defined. It's still set up for our transfer deadline day live stream. I just haven't had a chance to go and fix it all yet. I'll be back to normal next vid. Listen to me. Anyway, yeah, so this was your Manchester United side, and this was your Liverpool side, and let's be fair here, it was a proper doing. So basically, this was a game of 2 presses. So Liverpool, first off, used this 4-2-3-1 shape, but it had a couple of interesting tweaks in it, primarily between the relationship of 𝗬𝗫𝗓𝗧𝗏 Alexander-Arnold, and Mo Salah to get around Man United's press. So Man United almost always press in a 4-2-4 shape, and the reason you do that, especially against a double pivot like Liverpool have, is because it matches up all 6 players in this build-up man for man. And Man United in particular go really narrow with this, right? And the idea being that it then completely blocks off all progression through the centre of the pitch. Like, this was the thumbnail we used for their FA Cup final victory over Manchester City, and you can see it here, these 6 players blocking off all central progression for Manchester City, basically making an impenetrable wall that stops them building up. But a shiny brass penny, I don't really have a brass penny, for anyone who can tell me the difference between what's going on in this scenario and what is going on in this scenario. Anybody? Any hands? Show of hands. Just shout your name out. Yes, you there. Is it that one of them's very deep in their own half and the other's very high up in the opposition half, and that's basically 2 totally different things? Yes, it is. Doing it deep in your own half is very difficult to open up if you're disciplined with it. Man City had an absolute nightmare in that game, and Man United deservedly beat them on that afternoon. But doing it right on the edge of the opposition's third is a lot easier to open up if you are Liverpool. Now, I'm just going to show you 𝗬𝗫𝗓𝗏 Alexander-Arnold's heat map from that game. Now, if you've seen the first 2 Liverpool matches this season, you will have noticed that Arne Slot is not asking him to invert into the middle the way Jurgen Klopp occasionally was. Like, back then, Liverpool had a single pivot, and Alexander-Arnold would come in and make it a double. But now, they already have a double, so he plays along the touchline like fullbacks are supposed to. But if we look at the heat map, you will see these little wisps that do move into the centre of the pitch. And he wasn't getting involved there, he certainly wasn't a major part of the build-up, but you can see that he was moving into that area. And that, thusly, made Liverpool's build-up shape not this 4-2 that is perfectly matched up by Man United's press, but instead this 3-3. Now, having a 3-3 is not some sort of magical hack that automatically beats a 2-4, but what it does force Man United to do is all of these players now have to individually think about exactly what it is they're doing, because they're no longer perfectly matched up. And if you are watching this and you are a Man United fan, what follows should infuriate you beyond the boiling of your own piss. Now we can see here, perfectly, Liverpool have that 3-3 build-up shape, and Man United have their 2-4 ahead of them. And if you just cast a little beady eye over to this side of the pitch, you will notice that despite not being involved in anything right now, 𝗬𝗫𝗓𝗏𝗏 just drops into this space here, like the inherent gap created by having a 4-2-4 press structure. It just goes and sits in it to see if Man United will react to that and go with him. Now, initially, the fullback does not go with him. So not only have Liverpool sort of like made a complication by having 3-3 versus 4-2, but they've also made an overload on this side if they can get the ball there. But instead, what they do is they play it out to the far side. They give it to 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 on the touchline, and Man United react to this. Their 6 pressing unit, they all converge round and pen him in, again, stopping any forward passes. And that's actually really good by Man United. That's how you want a unit like that to work. Ten Hag will have been pleased at this moment in time. All 6 of them have moved as a unit. They've gone over, they've penned 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 in, they've stopped him moving the ball forward. He's got no option but to go backwards. Job done. But it's also exactly what Liverpool will have wanted them to do, because they do move the ball back across the defence. They do move it across to the left-hand side. And because Man United have already put in a shift going out to that side, they're testing to see whether they can be asked to put another shift in going back across the way. And not all of them can. And by the time they get it drilled and intelligent, that sort of build-up is. Like, I'll be blunt, you did not do this under Jurgen Klopp. Like, he tried to introduce a more controlled, sort of like clever technical build-up style, but it never quite felt as natural as just sort of like gunning forwards and like pressing opposition really high. Like, what Slot's already done in 3 games is quite staggering. Anyway, this move like eventually breaks down and comes to nothing. But one other interesting thing about it is because they've gone from right to left and then forward, look at all this space they've actually made as well on the right-hand side. So when they do get into the final third, not only have they pulled Man United all over the place, but they've left their 2 most dangerous, creative and attacking players in loads of space. Like, it really is something that... Like, this is 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧's heat map from this game. Like, remember, he's supposed to be, like, Liverpool's number 10, joining in with Diogo Jota, like a de facto second centre-forward. But look at how many times he finds those pockets, like, out to the right and left to provide an overload so they can get through this pressing structure. Like, he's just free to get on the ball absolutely anywhere as part of the build-up, and that's... yeah, it's staggering. I feel like I've said staggering like 3 times in this video, but it is. I am staggered. The thing is, right, structures and nice patterns of play and good things you've worked on the training ground, they're one thing, but they guarantee you absolutely nothing. They're not the reason Liverpool smashed Manchester United here. So Liverpool, and this may surprise you, actually had the exact same pressing structure as Manchester United did. They also went with a 4, I'll put that on to 4. The difference is rather than doing it really compactly to try and stop Man United playing through the centre, they actually did it really, really wide, with the object being to force them to play through the centre. And we saw loads of times in that game, both Salah and Diaz just basically sitting on the 2 Manchester United fullbacks, not allowing the goalkeeper or the centre-backs to find them with a pass. More importantly, when they did get the ball, it forced them to play back into the centre, and that's when Liverpool's pressing trap would sort of come alive. Like, what Salah and Diaz would both do is they would follow that ball and close down the options in the centre, leaving their defender, the person they were marking, in what's called a cover shadow. Like, they're stopping the pass going into there without actually being there. And this meant that one of 2 things happened, right? Either Casemiro would then drop to provide an option, the ball would be played into him, and they would jump onto him, being as he was with his back to playing in a risky position. Or, to counteract that, Man United would just drop Casemiro into the middle of the back 3 to try and give themselves a numerical advantage in the build-up. And the problem with this for Man United is that Casemiro is clearly specifically instructed by Erik ten Hag that when he receives the ball deep, to try and hit long, direct, first-time passes into either the wide players, or in this case, because he's a much bigger lad than Højlund, Joshua Zirkzee. But the problem that Man United have got and Erik ten Hag just does not seem to be able to realise is that Casemiro isn't very good at that. Like, these are his completed passes from that game, and you will notice that not a single one of them is a deep, long ball into a teammate. The only time he completes passes are when they're short and neat and tidy, and usually sideways and backwards. As for his unsuccessful passes, though, you will see that is where all the long and direct balls have gone. So Liverpool, forcing Manchester United to do this, is fine. But anyway, yes, back to why Liverpool won this game and Manchester United didn't, right? So the original plan is to sort of force a Man United midfielder, either Casemiro or Mainoo, to receive it in a dodgy area just as the net is tightening. Then they win the ball back in this area and they can attack the goal. And is that how they got their first goal? The reason Liverpool won this game and Man United didn't is because of what happens next? They can't quite play through and the ball rolls back to Casemiro. Now, Liverpool know that when Casemiro receives the ball deep, his instruction, a Man United fan, how many times last season did you see this exact same thing? A deep defensive line, a yawning chasm between that and the midfield, and a load of opposition players sprinting at you in it. When 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 turns that ball over, he immediately creates a 5-on-3. What got Liverpool that first goal was not the plan, it was their attitude and how they reacted when the plan failed, which is obviously way more important. But now that I say that, you're not going to believe what got them the second goal. Man United have just got the ball back. Liverpool are boxing them in their own half, and that forces, just as we discussed, Casemiro to drop short with his back to play to try and offer them a way out. And as soon as he does, this entire Liverpool midfield gets the scent of blood firmly up their nostrils. And lo and behold, they are able to turn that ball over in the dangerous area. Now from there, it is an excellent finish, and maybe you give Diaz that chance a couple of times. He doesn't get it every single time, but that is what ruthless play is all about. And it's difficult to argue that they didn't deserve it. Because just to wrap this whole argument over why Liverpool was so much better than Man United up in two very simple graphs, right? This is every single time Man United won the ball back from Liverpool. Either a stray ball, an interception, a tackle, anything they could do to get their hands on it. This is every time it happened. Now this is pretty good. It's nothing to be sniffed at. But ultimately, what Man United want to do by employing an aggressive 4-2-4 pressing structure that goes right up into Liverpool's half is to win the ball back in this position, as close to the goal and essentially as you possibly can. And looking at that, you'd say, what, that one that Garnacho gets, which no shot came from, no chance developed from, that's about it, right? Let's flip that over and look at the exact same stats, get all these buggers out the way, for Liverpool. Applying the exact same overlay, like, you can barely even count them, can you? There's like, what, 10, 15, maybe even 20 in this area of the pitch. Like, two teams employing almost exactly the same formation, the same pressing structure, the same everything, but Liverpool can do it, and Man United fucking can't. And I like to think on this channel we are as fair as we can be. Like, we slated a lot of Ten Hag's performances and his setup and his structure last season, but when they went into the FA Cup final, we said give the man his due. That was a brilliant individual managerial performance. But we are here in the new season, and he has been backed, and he has said they've turned a corner, and he's made all these right noises, and he's spent loads of money again. And I'm just looking at this Man United side, thinking, nothing has changed. They still have no clear passing identity out from the back. They're still really disjointed in their press, where some players seem good at it and some don't, and they make huge individual errors, but also there's not one overriding clear structure that should help those individuals out. Like, this is his third season as Man United manager, and this was Arne Slot's third game as Liverpool manager. Meanwhile, Arne Slot has come into this Liverpool side not being able to spend a single penny on the kind of players he probably wanted, and somehow melded this brilliant, deep, clever build-up style that all his teams had at Feyenoord with that exact same, like, high-pressing, aggressive Jurgen Klopp style attacking structure. Like, it's been brilliant. And not to toot my own cock too much, but we did say when Arne Slot was appointed that this probably was exactly why he got that job. This is a huge period of upheaval and transition for Liverpool. We don't know what's happening with Salah, with Van Dijk. Is Alexander-Arnold signed a new contract? I'm not even sure. Things could massively change over the next 12 months. So they're going to got a manager who doesn't have this strict ideology and this way he wants to play, but who just looks at his teams, I should probably have fixed this before I did any of that, and goes, okay, what can we do with this? And turns out what he can do with this is just turn up at Old Trafford and batter them. Like, it's some kind of, like, FA Cup 4th round tie away at a lower league club. But anyway, yes, I've only got the studio for another 120 seconds. So if you have enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing to us here at FourFourTwo. I can smell 600,000, and given that it's an international break and nothing else exciting to happen this month, I'd like to hit that. We'll have loads more analysis of Premier League games when the Premier League does return, and if you can bear to watch it, we will be covering all the England games as well. You can get me on all the social medias at Adam Clery, Clery, and this may be the last time I mention it, but I am doing the Great North Run in a matter of days with no knees, bad heart, just asthma, just everything sort of hurts from all the training. But we're trying to raise some money for Mind, who are a mental health charity here in the UK. We did a live stream for them and we hit the unbelievable figure of £3,000. I am already blown away by that, but if you have got a £5 or a tenner kicking around down the back of the sofa and you would consider donating it, that money will go so far and help so many people, and you will feel good about yourself, and I will love you. Get FourFourTwo on all the socials at FourFourTwo. I forgot to bring a copy of the magazine, but that is in stores now and looks beautiful and shiny and has 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗧𝗏𝗧 on it, so pick that up if you have the chance. And until next time, I'm breaking the set now, so I'm going to go and have a lie down, because I am actually quite not well. Goodbye.